Well, thank you so much, Ash, for joining me today. Really excited to talk about an industry that I read a lot about and kind of just peruse it and try to understand a little bit more because it is very nascent to us all until we actually get to that point in our lives where we want to buy a home, and then there's all kind of aspects to it, and there's all kind of people involved, and a lot of different things. Before we get into Onyx Homes and what it's doing, sort of what it's trying to disrupt, what it is disrupting already in a lot of different aspects of the industry. Talk a little bit about your journey, maybe your career path before Onyx Homes and how you got into the industry.
Thanks, John. Really appreciate this opportunity. As my background, I'm a technology executive. I'm a technology founder of various companies in my past. And my journey started when I first moved to United States in '85 from India. And first thing that I noticed was when I first got to my first apartment. The first day itself. I can punch, and my hand could go on the other side of the wall. Okay, so I mean that was the first thing I noticed, and it was and from where I come, everything is built with structure, with concrete, and it's solid, and if you punch, you will break your wrist. Okay, so that was the first one that I noticed. But then didn't make much of it because that's what everything is done in the United States. I said maybe this is the way to do it, and off to my technology journey, and I previously built out a company called Flextronics. It's called Flex now. Okay, I ran various divisions for it. It was one of the largest manufacturing company in the world. Okay, not building for us, but building for others. And that's where I learned that in the process of life of electronic product, the prices go down. The prices go down, efficiencies increases, and you pass efficiency to the consumer, and that's how the world operates in that industry. So build that company out. The company went public, and stayed there for 14 years, and ran various of their divisions. And post that, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, so I started like almost at 8, 9 companies in AI space and software space and in other spaces, and but more to keep away from
Wow.
hardware space, okay, just because it's too capital intensive and it's expensive. So a few of the companies got sold. Okay, got sold to other companies. Okay, other major companies, and few of them are still existing and doing well. And then the time came that a friend of mine called me who was running one other construction related technology company to see what I can do to help in that area. And he wanted me to, and I wanted to get some experience outside of the United States as well again. So I moved to Middle East and India to look at construction technology, and that's where all of this technology piece of it made sense to me on what can be done around this within the United States. Okay, so post that, came back to the US, and then started co-founded Onyx. And the concept is very simple, and that is, like I said, the first learning of mine was, your wrist can go to the other side if you box on a wall in the United States. That's number one. Number two is, come from electronics industry where the prices come down every year and your efficiency increases. Two. Number three is, in all the industries that I've been in, technology industries, everything changes every few years. Okay, so those are the three learnings that I had. Then when I looked at the homemaking and home building industry, all three don't work. Okay, in the sense that homes don't last too long. Okay, that's number one. Climate changes happen, okay, which is actually causing the hurricane comes over in Florida, and half the homes are gone, or at least the roofs are gone. There's a small fire in the home, and guess what? Okay, the entire neighborhood is gone. And so those are the real challenges. Second is, the homes are getting built the same way that they were getting built 100 years. In fact, even worse. Okay, at that point in time, at least the homes were
Yeah.
built were stronger and and
Right.
and and
Seems real worse now.
yeah, and now it's cheaper and worse. Okay, and it doesn't happen in any other industry. I mean, I come from the industry where the prices go down and efficiency increases. So efficiency is all time low in for home building industry. Okay, too. And final learning around all of this for me was, I come from a background where we build around almost 100 factories in 40 countries around the world. Okay, in electronics manufacturing, supply chain. And the supply chain is there's no centralized supply chain in this industry. Everybody is buying from mom and pop places. Everybody's going and running to Home Depots at the last minute to put things, and the efficiencies of supply chain, efficiencies of cost, efficiencies of how to build it in the factory has not been looked into in the right way. So all of that led me to co-found Onyx, and it's been a journey. We didn't. I mean, this is like last 3 years that we started off on this journey. So very very
Wow.
happy to where we are right now. So that's my background.
Yes. There's so much to touch on. I wanna try to touch on a lot of different things. The first would be the industry, as a whole, as itself. You mentioned you went to sort of the Middle East and see how they build it, and when you came to sort of the US and kinda looked at, "Okay, I wanna start." I see what we can build. We can build it fast, we can build it efficient. It seems like the technology is there to build a lot of homes and homes
Yeah,
that we need. I think we have 3 million
yeah,
home shortage in America, and that the problem of building doesn't seem to be the issue. I guess talk about the industry on the ground and what it
yeah,
takes to
yeah.
get a development built. What are some of the hurdles there that maybe of not allowing the disruption that sort of needs to happen to get these home built? I guess what is it like in Essence? Take an example of Florida where you're at. Is that a little bit more lenient than other states?
No, no, I mean, that's a great question. So, the way to look at this is if you go to Europe also, you see these buildings which are built like 400, 500 years ago and are still standing and in great shape. Or people are living in those
I
buildings,
li
right?
I lived in one in Amsterdam, and it was,
There you go.
yeah, it was amazing.
There you go. So then the learning that I had in overseas and coming back to the US was in overseas, they do a build with concrete and in some way in they try to automate in a factory some portion of it, but not all. Okay, because labor is still cheap in that part of the world and things. So it's still very manual and very labor intensive. So when we first started, we said, well, our goal has been, and we have proved that, is to build homes in less than 30 days. Okay. And so we designed a factory, okay, which is by the way a very automated factory. I mean, just to give you perspective, the first factory that we have in Florida, in Miami area, has we can build 4 homes in a day in that factory. And when I talk about homes, I'm not talking about like small homes. We're talking about 2,000 square feet, 2,500 square feet. Our biggest square feet home is 3,600 square feet. Okay, so all across the range. I mean, the way to look at this is, and there are only 18 people in that factory in a shift. So 4 homes getting built with 18 people per shift. We're running 2 shifts for that factory. Okay, and that factory builds all the walls and every piece in the wall, like MEP, even the windows. We put that in the wall in the factory. Okay, so there's a wall factory. Then the second factory that we have in Miami is what I call the parts factory. So the biggest cost in a home is either building kitchens or building bathrooms, okay, because that's where all the connection, everything comes in play, okay. And we have a bathroom port factory, which is by the way approved by all of Florida. Bathroom ports can be used anywhere in the state, okay, too. And number three is foundation. Okay, so even foundation we do it in a factory. Okay, so it's all very clever designs, very clever. And by the way, we have almost 40 plus patents. Okay, on technology, what we do, how we do automation, the material science, the materials that we use, and all that good stuff. So we took some of the elements which were working in different parts of the world, put it all together with our proprietary technology on top of it, with our automation on top of it, with our way of doing things to see how we can build a home in less than 30 days. So we are already doing that. We are, just to give you perspective, we have uh, built over 600 homes now. Okay, families are living in there. 600 families are living, 2,000 plus people are living in this. Okay, these are in 2 or 3 different locations are in and around Miami. So off to the great start. Okay, in fact, I was just looking at some of the stats. Some of the technology companies are in this space and who started before us have not even built 100 homes yet. Okay, and here we are. We deliver this quarter alone. Last quarter alone, we delivered over 90 homes. Okay, so off to the races. Okay, now what are the challenges? That was a great question. Why Florida? I think that was one of the questions that you asked. Okay, why Florida? And was it easier to start over here? Okay, so first of all, Florida is where the hurricanes come. So that
If you
was
can
easy.
build it there, you can build it anywhere, huh?
You can build it there, you can build it anywhere. So that's number one. Okay, number two is, and we want to, and our old story is not only speed but resilience and also saving cost for the consumer on an ongoing basis. Okay, I'll talk about that a little later. Second is, we had a partner who had a piece of land over here who are known from our previous thing. So it just happened to be that it's easy access to the land because of his because he was controlling some pieces of land because of two. And number three is, guess what? Miami-Dade County is probably the toughest county in getting things done. If you recall, It had two incidences. It had one about 10 years ago. There was a bridge that came down, and then
Mhm.
there was a couple of years ago. There's a building that came down. Okay, and since then, the county and jurisdiction has been very very strict around its rules, around regulations, and things. So I said, if you can do it in Miami-Dade, you can do it in other places in the United States. Okay, so so we chose a difficult part, not the easy part. Okay, to start off with. Okay, and of course, as you can imagine, there have been positive and negatives around it. Positives is that we've been successful in building over here, and we've built and we've worked with the cities in the right way to get to that. Okay, even like like I said, the quad that we have, bathroom quads, are approved for all of Florida. Okay, they don't even have to come and inspect it. It's that proof point that they have given us. Okay, otherwise, just to get a bathroom into a home, it requires like 7 or 8 different people coming and inspecting it. Since it's big building a factory, it's just easy for them to inspect, and it's just one and you're gone. So they've been positive around that. The area that we struggle with, okay, that everybody struggles with, is land and land approvals. Okay, to get from there's enough land, by the way. I mean, it's not a
Yeah,
shortage of land. Okay, I mean, I
yeah.
see land everywhere, but they are not parcel, or they're not done for building housing, and to get approval of that takes a longer time, and there's a system in place which has been put in place for a long period of time. I'm not blaming Florida. I'm not blaming it's like all of the United States has that issue that has to be dealt with in some given way. And then the governments and the counties and the cities are short of people in getting things done based on the older way. Okay. And I think it's time that whoever gets the housing market, I think it's important that the government plays a good role in upgrading its systems, upgrading how it thinks about it, upgrading what are the needs are in that area, and approving it faster. Okay, so I mean we can build as fast as we can, but if we don't get approvals, then it's a problem, right? So the good news is we have been successful. Would I have been more successful if that was if we had more government collaboration around it to be able to help us solve? Absolutely. Okay, but having said that, not complaining about it, but I think the issue is to solve the housing problem. It has to be some kind of a combination of government on permitting side, playing a faster role at the same time. Companies like Onyx and Onyx like technology companies building these homes faster. So that's and once we approved it over here, what do we want to do? I mean, we want to go national. Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
we want to be national builder. Okay, that's our aspiration.
Yeah, I was reading that there's, a ton of builders, I guess, or developers, but there's a very small amount that actually get the license to approve by, these local governments or something like that. I think it was only like there's like 25 really big companies out of these 60,000 developers that actually build most of these. That's why everything looks the same. When you get outside the cities, it all sort of looks the same. It's got all the same things around it. It's because it's
Mhm.
sort of these same developers doing it, and it becomes culture is sort of lost in the US a little bit because you go somewhere and it's like, oh, this kind of looks the same as the other city outside.
That's
This area just starts looking the same. But the one thing you said about how we can get the approval stuff faster is that you have it in the factory. You sort of had this blueprint. You mentioned sort of the patents where if the government or whoever comes and takes a look at it to approve it, they only have to kind of do it once rather than doing it for the bathroom, let's say, and then you have certain layouts, I guess, for the home. When we talk about cost, what does that cost by our different layouts? I guess walk us through like the cost of it for the end consumer. How do we get that to sort of because these homes are beautiful. I mean, we'll link everything and we'll show pictures. I mean, they are beautiful homes. Climate efficient. There's all kinds of sustainability factors to it that we'll sort of get into. But I guess talk about pricing, and then we'll get into sort of materials.
Yeah. So let me. I mean, since, we've been new in the market, right? I mean, some of our competitors have been in existence for 80 years, 100 years. Okay, so those are, and here we are in 3 years, of life of us. Okay, and one of the things that I learned and what I've been doing in the past is that big companies have a business model, and for them business model to change, it's very difficult. Okay, it's just that because what is working, why change it? Okay, that's the general attitude. That's what big company, even every field. Okay, and then
Right.
comes a startup which looks at it a different way and says, "Well, why are we doing it this way? Why can't we do it this way?" And that's the reason startup world exists. Okay, and then startup world happened to change the industry over a period of time, and that's what we are hoping to be that change. Okay, so that's number cost. Okay, now cost factor is, since we were new in the marketplace, obviously we have been able to take the cost out of the system a lot. The way we build it, wastage is minimal. Okay, I mean, just a traditional construction has got about 20% wastage on the site because everything is built on the site. Okay,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and it causes a lot of wastage. If you're building in a factory, there's zero wastage. Okay, in a factory, hardly any wastage. Okay, so that's one. So you're saving on the wastage. Second is, since it's very automated and things, and we don't need as much people on the site, and we are doing it in the factory in a more efficient way, we save on the labor cost. Okay. Number three is materials that we use. Okay, are sourced worldwide in a way, because that was my learning in my past life, that you go worldwide to find the right materials and right things, and have the supply chain honed. So we have nailed that as well. Okay, now what we did was, we said, okay, I'm building the home 15% less price. I'm just making up a number. But what can I do to have more things in the same that our competitors don't offer? Okay, for example, I was very surprised that in Miami-Dade area, that Hurricane impact window is an upgrade. You have to pay
Mhm.
$15,000-$20,000 extra for
Yeah, a
that.
lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, hurricane is going to come. So why don't we just have that as a standard in there?
Yeah.
That's one. Number two is, all the homes over here, single story, double story homes. One story is built with blockwork concrete, and then the next story is built with wood. Okay, so when a hurricane comes, half the home
The
is going
top
to be
goes.
gone. Okay, and the roofing system, again wood. Okay, and so we said, while we're saving that, why don't we also address the resilience part of the home? Okay, in the sense that our resilient homes are at the same price as our competitor price. Okay, although we're saving it on how we build it, on the material cost, but we're giving all these free upgrades. And in fact, just to give you perspective, we counted, and there are like 80 plus upgrades that our competitors upsell to the consumer. Okay, which is fine.
Right.
They have a business model that works. Okay, but it confuses the consumer in more. And so within Onyx, we just have three models: O, N, and X. Okay, so consumer comes in, say, I want an O model, N model, or X model. Okay, so make it very simple. Okay,
Yep.
X model has got everything. N model has got certain things, and guess what? We don't have any carpets in our home. Okay, because we believe that to have carpets in especially in Florida is not right. Okay, because of humidity, because of kids. The young kids get all the germs from all the carpets. Okay, so we have made sure that we are not everything that we do. Provide a better envelope for our homes for saving energy. So price is price. Market dictates a price. Okay, because there's a land
Yep.
price. We buy land, we put up a home, and then you sell to the consumer. You compete in the marketplace. Price is up and down depending on economy, the demand. So supply and demand creates what a price should be. But where can we impact? Okay, we can impact the people. Consumers are not well educated usually when they're buying a home of the expenses that they're going to have once they buy the home.
Yep.
For
Yep.
example, in the United States, the maintenance cost is 1.5 to 3 times, 3% of the total price of your home. Insurance.
Yep.
Insurance companies are leaving Florida, company
Yes.
leaving California. My friend in California called me. He says, you need to be here because my insurance just tripled in a year. Okay. And so that's true. Number three is energy bills, utilities. So those are all things that add up significantly. For example, I'll just give you an example. In the United States, average in Florida is about 3,500 insurance for your home, $3,500. Our average insurance for the same size homes is about 1,200. So imagine how much saving that comes from
Wow.
insurance.
And is
Okay,
that because the windows are already installed for
it's
sort of hurricane
we
protection?
the way we build homes, it's all concrete. Okay, everything with a
Even
good.
the insurance companies know and understand that this
We
house is sort of
we are educating the insurance companies on a daily
gotcha.
basis. Okay, so that's
Gotcha.
maintenance. Our homes can last for 100 plus years. Okay, you don't need any maintenance in our homes per se, and in the sense that they are solid. They're going to stay there, and hardly any maintenance costs. I mean, for example, we have a community over here that we have rented out. We thought that we'll build something and we rent it out and see how it goes. Okay, and guess what? In those homes, because we see it ourselves, okay, because we are supposed to upgrade them on any maintenance or anything. That hardly any maintenance bills have come in those homes, and they've been rented for the last 2 years. I mean, I'm talking about 35, 40 homes that we built for renting it out. Okay, so you save all that. And utilities. Okay, so we have two initiatives in the company. One is how to envelop the home in a way that it's more that the air escape doesn't happen much. Okay, which means if it stays in the right way. We also have HVAC system that we are designing, which is going to change how HVACs are done in the world, where each room is going to have a unit, okay, which is going to be part of your wall, okay,
Gotcha.
and
Not a big ugly machine that needs to be hitting
no,
away.
and it won't make a noise. It'll have all the artificial intelligence to figure out what is the humidity, how many people are in the room, what a temperature people want. Okay, you can have different temperatures in different rooms because wife might want a different temperature, the kids might want a different temperature too. And number three is our homes don't make any noise. I mean, you go up and down, you can hardly tell if anybody's going up and down because it's not shaking, it's not wood, it's just solid. All of that adds up to cost savings for all. And I was just calculating the other day. I said with the amount of people who save that cost, and then let's say they choose to pay that towards a mortgage, instead of 30-year mortgage, you can actually pay off your entire home in 17 years if you've got Onx Homes. Okay, the savings that you get
Wow.
from all the stuff that you do. So anyway,
Right.
those are the things that we look at on a daily basis, and that's what drives us to be able to save operating costs for the consumer, okay, on a daily basis. So that's where we are focusing on.
The efficiency cost up front because of the automation, the factories building the homes sort of there, time to build is cut by, geez, almost 100 times.
Yes.
And then you have the XX savings on the back end because the home is built the way it is and the efficiencies that it sort of provides. I guess I'm trying to find the issue that cities and counties would have of bringing affordable, efficient, well-built sort of homes that can be developed very quickly. I'm not sure what are the hurdles there? I guess what are they saying
Yeah.
no to? Or is it
Yeah.
is it just the acquisition of the land that is maybe the hardest part? And then once you have that, that county or local entity is good with.
No, it's not acquisition of the land. I mean, just to give you a perspective, if you can acquire land, let's say if it's an agricultural zone, and to get
Sure.
to permitting it to get for housing zone could take anything between 3 to 4 years. Okay,
Mhm,
it's a
mhm.
long process. So I personally think if the government says we are marking these places, okay, and this is where the government is going to provide in a subsidized way the land, and fast forward approvals. I do believe that like you brought up, there's 3 million shortage of housing in the United States. And some of them are in the states where a lot of migration have happened in the last few years. And I think those things have to be considered by the government to make sure that they have looking at the land, they're looking at the places and adding people and adding efficiencies to get it done faster. Okay, because for me to build a home in less than 30 days, and if I don't have a land, it doesn't matter because I can't build it anyway. Okay, so but the good news over here is we have been able to get land, but those are all already pre-approved. Somebody had already done all the work 3, 4 years to get to that
That's
spot,
right.
and now we're building it. Our competitors are taking 8, 9, 12 months to build the same thing, and we're building it in less than 30 days. So that's off to the great start. Okay, but I do believe the governments can play a very big role. The government and private sector together can play a very big role. And technology can play a very big role, which we are already proving that it is.
I wanted to dive into the materials a little bit. We talked
Mhm.
about concrete being a big part of the
Yeah.
home, but also there's I was reading about sort of like hemp insulation or
Mhm.
but talk about the materials and talk about what the positivity that they yield from an efficiency perspective, but also they can capture a ton of carbon as well. There's a lot of sort of
Yeah.
ancillary aspects to the decisions of the materials that
Yeah.
you use.
Oh, that's a great question. So first is, in a traditional way in the US, when the home gets built, it goes the structure goes through 7 layers of different things on top of it. And people believe that the wood is sustainable. Okay, but wood is only one piece. And in fact, in some parts of the world, using cutting forest and using wood is supposed to be negative, okay, because it's negative for the environment. Okay, and especially in the countries where they have rapid deforestation and things. So I come from that background that you don't cut a tree, you actually grow a tree. That's one piece. Okay. And especially in the United States and Canada, it's been categorized as sustainable product because you cut a forest and you put more trees and it's sustainable from that side. But the 7 layers go outside that thing, okay, the
It
world.
deducts any positive
And
environmental
that
aspect
that
that you
has nothing positive, okay, from
yeah.
environmental standpoint, as well as from sustainability standpoint, as also from the health standpoint. I mean, half of time, 60-70% of the time is spent at home, or maybe if not more. And it's not a very healthy environment. I can tell you, I'm in the industry, I can tell you that. Now, with the way we do things, okay, is as following. We don't have those 7-8 layers because we don't need our homes are built with proprietary mixes, okay, in our country, okay, that makes a less carbon footprint for the world. We have investment in the companies. By the way, I was invited by McKinsey to one of their housing based. It was more of a show and tell of labs and things and what's happening, and it was in San Francisco. And I was completely surprised that 300 companies working on how to take the carbon out of the country completely. And the government has said by 2040 or 2050 or whatever the time frame is. I think it's going to happen much faster, okay, because every good brain is working towards that to make it happen. From our standpoint, we have
Yep.
investment in few of those companies, okay, and one of them is very, very clever. They're using a bio way of building a country, and we can build tiles with them right now, and hopefully we can build structures as a progress.
And so you mentioned Onyx is itself an investor in some of these material
Yes.
companies?
Yes, we are. And not
Super
only,
smart.
I mean,
Yeah.
we have our proprietary stuff as well that we keep experimenting and doing, but at the same time, we are invested in others. The second piece is one of the piece on this project we have, we talked about the envelope of the home, which is, you brought up then when you were opening the home and you found a lot of homes and things and all of this stuff. By the way, that's not very healthy, by the way. Okay, just for your perspective, okay?
Yeah, it was horrible.
But now the insulation that is coming up is a lot of people are experimenting with different kinds of insulation. Hemp-based insulation happens to be one of them, okay, which we are an investor as well in the company, and we have a plan to start using that in our portfolio as we go forward as the company makes progress. But there's a lot of natural things that are happening that can be used in a home which are not harmful for the health, and we as a company are working towards it ourselves. At the same time, we're investing in some of these early startups and startup companies which has got a potential to be able to change and get us there as well. On the other material, there's a bit on the building material. You have to build a structure. Like I said, building a structure, there's a lot of wastage. So we don't waste any material, okay, in a factory environment. We're using recyclable steel, okay, which is McKinsey did a study on us, and they said we are saving about our homes to our equivalent homes for our competitors is close to about 15% less carbon footprint right now. And they're saying with our HVAC system and other things coming in play, we'll be 40% better over here very soon in the next 3 to 5 years. Okay, so that's what we are heading towards. But that, one of the questions that got asked to me in one of the interviews was, what do I think about how the world is going to look like, housing is going to look like in the age of 2050? And there were other people in that, and they said, well, we'll be carbon free, we'll be energy free by that time, energy neutral and things. And I said, that's going to happen faster. That's not with 2050. That's the next 10 years or 15 years maximum
Wow.
going to happen because
Wow.
everything is moving so fast. Because I keep a tab on technology as an interest, and at the same time, I'm seeing what's happening in some of the material science pieces of it, okay, which is going to take us over there. So that is moving very, very fast. I can tell you that, and I think and the companies like Onyx and Onyx like companies are going to get there faster than some of the traditional players, just because why change something that isn't working, and from their perspective. So
So you mentioned, let's say it's moving very fast on the material front. and you're very optimistic, and you see a lot of positive founders and smart people sort of working on, building homes more efficiently, energy friendly and more efficient, and that cost comes down is an incredible burden on consumers and homeowners,
Yeah,
and cutting that in half, let's say, will be huge for sort of affordability. But just like in any industry, let's say, startups are always going to move faster
yeah,
than, the government and regulation. And it seems like we're going to move, like we said, maybe starting off, like it seems like we have the talent, we have the materials, we have everything from a technology standpoint to build as many homes as we need, and we can build sort of this really efficient, friendly home, affordable home. Are you as optimistic that in that 10 years, 15 years, we'll sort
yes,
of build the amount of homes that need to be built to sort
exactly.
of allow those first time homeowners to get a beautiful home?
This question has three-pronged answer from our perspective. One is there are not too many home builders are coming in play, but there are material sciences in the home building industry that is playing a good part to get to that spot. Okay. But the problem with the people who have got technology and building homes right now, like for example, there are people building homes in 3D, building homes with
Yeah.
other things, and the cost has not been addressed completely by technology. Okay, so when the new technology comes in, it's usually more expensive than the rest of
Mhm.
it, and with interest rate regime and things, the consumer is price sensitive and goes to buying the regular home because that's all they can afford at the prices. But technology has to bring the prices down eventually. Because if technology, so that's the reason a lot of technology companies in homes, in construction field, have not done well or gone under because they were not able to get the technology to match the pricing for the consumer. So that's one piece that that's a the technology can be anything, but the technology, if it doesn't address the cost, is not going to be useful end of the day. When we started the company, that was the first thing that I laid out or we laid out that whatever we do in technology, it has to be efficient and cost effective. So happy to say that, like I said, some of the other technology companies have not even built 100 homes. They've been in business for the last 7, 8 years. And here we are in 3 years, 600 homes built. This year alone, we're going to build about 500 homes. Next year, we're running towards 1,200 homes. So off to the races. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's why when I say Onyx and Onyx line companies are going to be successful is because technology has to address the cost as well. That's a lot of people miss that. Second of all, manufacturing people think is easy. Manufacturing is not easy. It takes uh, it takes a discipline. It takes a lot of effort and things and a lot of automation to do it right. Okay, so that's another piece of it. What I'm actually very optimistic about is another thing that triggered all of this stuff is with COVID. Okay, when COVID happened,
Mhm.
people changed a little bit. People lifestyle changed. They want an extra space as a home
Yeah.
office. People want more space around their home so that they can go outside their homes. Another thing that happened, okay, which by the way, we are on the cusp of that in the right way, the taste of the consumer is changing. I've seen, for example, I have a home in California, and any time in my neighborhood, a home comes up or somebody takes the home down and builds a new home, it's a very modern looking home. Okay, in the sense that
Yeah.
it's got high ceiling, it's got windows coming down. Okay, so the consumer taste is changing. Okay, and changing very rapidly, which is actually very good for what we do. Okay, because building those homes in our factory is much easier than building traditional homes. Okay, modern homes are much easier for us to build. That's another thing that is happening. Okay, and we are careful because sometimes we don't build traditional homes. We build other transitional homes or modern homes because that's what you'll see in our design. So the consumer taste is changing, consumer desire is changing. That's going to push the industry to get to what you said, that you go to neighborhoods, everything looks the same. It will change over a period of time because a little more modern looks are coming. I'm optimistic, okay, that any industry has to change over a period of time. And I do believe the home American dream is people. I keep reading about everybody keeps talking about American dream is going to be dead. Well, no, okay, American dream is here, okay, to live. Okay, I promise you that. Okay, I have a 30-year-old son who just bought his first home. I've never seen him so happy. The
Amazing.
reason he's so happy is because he feels that he has a home. Okay, that
Is
He
it
doesn't have to print to
is
somebody else.
I mean, Onyx Home, building the American dream. Is that taken, or can you use that? Is that might be
Oh,
taken.
no, that's a good one. I have to go and check with the marketing guys. Okay.
Check check the copyright on that.
Yes, exactly. But the pieces that are two pieces that are missing has been missing. That's what we are trying to address. Is one is homes and building homes. That's one side. The consumer experience around buying a
Mhm.
home
It's a big one. Yeah.
is really, really okay.
Yep, it's
And
awful.
it's awful.
Yes.
Okay. This is the biggest spend any consumer is doing in their lifetime. And that experience has to be, in my opinion, taken to a different level and higher level. So think about this, as I always say this, but it's been used a lot. When we start the company, we say, well, if we succeed in technology and be Tesla like, we'll be successful. If we exceed in consumer experience and be Apple like, we'll be successful. Okay, so it's just trying to take from Onyx standpoint, we're trying to take both the sides in a way. We're still some time away from reaching that goal, but that's what is driving us every day. Not only building good homes, but at the same time giving our consumers better experience than our competitors.
I'll end on the last question here, and it's a little bit about the future. And I know this industry specifically is really dynamic and changing every year. But what are some of the goals and successes you and the company would like to achieve maybe in the next 5 to 10 years? You had mentioned sort of amount of homes being built. Is that sort of the KPI that you look at every year
Yeah.
as a success rate, or I guess what are some of the things that you're gonna look at next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, we always look at 5 years. I mean, it's always a changing plan of next 5 years, but we do have a time horizon of looking at 5 years. In the United States, about 1 million homes are built and sold every year. Okay, new homes. Okay, there are 8 million homes transact every year, but about 800,000 to 1 million homes
Mm,
are built and sold new homes every year. And the biggest guy in this industry probably makes maybe about 80,000 homes or those a year. And here we just started. Next 5 year, we expect to do about 10 to 15,000 homes a year.
wow.
We have a trajectory towards that. We want to be nationwide. At least we are identified. We are actually in our full game plan. We are starting in Texas. Florida is South Florida is done. We're starting in Texas. So next year is about Texas. Once that is done, we plan to take it to other destinations, California, Arizona, we name it. Okay, and Nevada. Okay, and again, climate change is affecting everyone. Okay, let's be very clear. And California is about earthquakes, fires. Okay, the hurricanes, okay, tornadoes in middle. And guess what? In Texas, hailstorms now. I mean, I have a friend of mine. He has changed his roof twice in last 1 year alone because of the hailstorm situation. Okay, and that's another thing to be addressing. And where I'm heading towards this is our goal is to keep doing things that makes home more resilient and take the operating cost out of the home for the consumer on a daily basis as on what we do. At the same time, be build in speed and be able to go nationwide over the next 5. We might not be in every state, okay, but all the
Sure.
states that count, we expect us to be there. And by the way, it requires people and teams, okay, and I'm building that as we speak.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Ash. This was really great, very informative. I love talking to people in industries that are really hard to disrupt. I mean, it's a very long term trajectory, and it's a long term path, and you and the team dedicate a lot of time, energy, and a lot of your life to this chapter, right? In doing this, so thanks for taking the time. I know you're busy, but best of luck for you and the team for the next decade.
Thanks, Brian. Really appreciate it.